Preparing to live stream. Let me move this over here. Taco Tuesday at the Saba household, huh?
Saba Jones.
The Saba Jones estate.
Yeah. Typhonated until I put a ring on it. You're muted. You're muted. Oh my God. Can you hear me? I don't know. When you turned YouTube live on, I heard like you almost hit something. So if you look next to Zero Dark Nerdy, I don't know if you can see it. There's a red micro. It's a microphone with a red hash through it next to your name.
Okay, how about now?
Oh, now you're there.
Okay, all right. Okay. Can you still hear us?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. I don't know what the
fuck. Yeah.
Technology. It's crazy.
I don't know why I thought you couldn't hear me. I would have been talking shit to you the whole time.
All right, well, let's get into it. We are 100% live on YouTube Live. For those of you that are tuning in via the podcast, thank you so much for joining us. This is Zero Dark Nerdy, the world's most notorious pop culture podcast. This is your boy, Brian, a.k.a. El Nino, and today I am joined with...
Nicole, a.k.a. Il Mama, and...
Ryan Saba, Captain Cleveland, Browns, Cavs, Indians. See you later till I die. So today, I guess I get to do the intro today.
Yes,
today we're going to recap WandaVision. Exciting first installment of the new, I guess, limited series that Marvel is doing on Disney Plus. So we're going to have a fun time talking about all the things we loved and maybe didn't love so much on the show. But before we get into that, a word from our sponsor. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. The NBA is in full swing and college basketball is heating up as the schools make their way to March Madness. The tournament is coming, everybody, and so is the $100,000 Bracket Madness contest. BetOnline is the spot for all your bracketology needs. BetOnline has you covered for all the news, scores, and odds, and it's the best way to place your bets, and it's free to sign up. Head to betonline.ag with your computer or mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, your online sports book experts.
There we go.
I just read that last night.
That was good.
I messed it up. I messed it up last night. I messed it up last night. So you want me to go ahead and start, I guess, since I'm already talking about it. So
off for us.
I guess we'll start with just sort of general thoughts. Look, I think at a very, very high level, the pressure that was on WandaVision was immense, right? Because this is, even though Marvel has had television shows, the Netflix series that they had, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series that they had on ABC, what they are attempting to do in this next couple phases is unlike what they've done in the past, where the TV shows a little bit on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tied into the movies, but none of the Netflix stuff, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, none of that tied directly to the movie arcs. So, Disney Plus and Marvel really, if WandaVision would have fell flat out of the gate, now all of a sudden people are like, oh man, do I really want to watch Falcon Winter Soldier? Do I really want to watch Loki? Do I really want to watch Hawkeye? And listen, the pressure was there and they answered the bell, man. Like, this is unlike anything on television that I've ever seen. Coming into it, I was like, man, am I really going to like this? This show's going to be so weird. And like the fact that it was so weird was what made it so endearing, and it really helped with the character development. I mean, it was a sitcom wrapped in a Marvel movie, and it just spread out over 8-9 episodes. I loved what they did early on. I love the way that, the first couple episodes, you're like, what the fuck is Dick Van Dyke's show, Bewitched? Like, what the fuck is this? Right? And then they would sort of sprinkle the little things in there, like Vision save him when, he saved the guy choking at the table, or when, the beekeeper that you find out later, the guy comes up through the sewer. Obviously, you find out later how all this stuff ties in, but just at a very high level, this show had a lot of pressure, and it could have really derailed what they're attempting to do moving forward. Now, because it was so great, the acting was outstanding, the writing was outstanding, the progression and the arc of the characters throughout the show was outstanding. Now it's like, dude, where the fuck's Falcon Winter Soldier? Give me fucking Loki. Give me Hawkeye. Like, now we're all like, oh my God. And here's the other thing I saw today. And don't take what I'm about to say for granted. Disney Plus just passed 100 million subscribers. In 16 months, Disney Plus has 100 million subscribers. To put it in perspective, Netflix has 200 million. Okay. Hulu, HBO Max, Amazon Prime, they all have 40 million subscribers or less. So Disney Plus they invested big on this show. I think the budget on this thing I saw somewhere was like $200 million. Mm-hmm. So they invested big and it's going to pay off. So just at a very, very high level, I love what they did. Great show. And let's hear what you guys have to say.
Il Mama?
I would agree. I was kidding.
It's all good.
I got a mic guy. I really liked the fresh look that they took, like you said, on the sitcoms. It was a new point of view. The first few episodes, it was a little hard to get into, and I've heard that from quite a few people. Towards the fourth one, though, it really started to connect everything. But I myself I was a big fan of Dick Van Dyke and I Dream of Jeannie, and they moved their way all the way up to Malcolm in the Middle, it seemed like. So just watching her kind of go through all of these, it was very it was very artistic. I loved watching the growth from episode to episode, decade to decade, and them tying it all kind of in. From the first few episodes, it was kind of like, I don't know how this is going to go, which direction this is going to go.
Right.
But then once you saw on that fourth episode, you know, how they kind of tied everything in where, you know, like you said, the beekeeper and the helicopter and the radio, you know, how they tied it all in that episode. It was kind of like, okay, this is gaining momentum now for me. You know, I really see, you know, a good vision here. And yeah, I really enjoyed watching it. And I did like seeing some of the other characters from the other movies, the other Marvel movies we watched, like Darcy. And it was just...
Jimmy Woo.
Yeah. You completely hit the nail on the head there with, you know, this is... Disney Plus has a lot of fandom, you know, from Marvel, from... It just goes to show like what the potential is for all these Marvel shows that are going to come out on Disney Plus.
Honestly, I could not agree more. Just like Saba said, this was definitely a big risk doing this show as far as kicking off your slate, especially coming off COVID and not having Black Widow come out, the Eternals not come out. I do believe that this was still slated to come out at this time, if I'm not mistaken. But obviously, I am a big fan of, just like you said, Dick Van Dyke, Bewitched. I grew up watching these shows with my dad. The Munsters, the black and white shows. So I was, of course, there's that question, like, what does all this shit have to kind of do with each other? And then you have episodes 3 and 4 where you start seeing everything kind of come to light. And then really you obviously everybody knows spoilers ahead. So if you haven't watched WandaVision, I don't know what you're doing listening to the podcast unless you want spoilers.
Turn it off now.
Right. But you end up seeing in flashback scenes that these are like, I don't want to say suppressed memories, but some of Wanda's favorite memories as a kid were watching these shows. And that's what came out. And then, of course, obviously her love for Vision moving forward. But I thought it was fantastic. The side characters were great. Obviously, Catherine Hahn, which I'll get into that in a little bit. To me, she is probably, and I know, Saba, you and I keep talking about doing an underrated actors and actresses episode. But I think now she's finally going to start getting, not that she wasn't before, you know, she was always kind of known for her small scenes, or not, you know, as far as like Step Brothers, then it was the Bad Moms movies and things like that. And I believe she was also in The Goods with Ari Gold, Jeremy Piven. She's always done these quirky, kind of slutty characters. And, you know, to see her and then the big reveal of her being Agatha Harkness, I thought was just fantastic. So, and then, I'll get into a little bit of some of my favorite scenes, but I loved it. Truly loved it. Yeah, it's a little bit to get into the first couple episodes, but at the end of the day, I thought the payoff was exceptional. Of course, Monica Rambeau's character, you know, we remember last time we saw her as a little kid in Captain Marvel, and then seeing her literally appear after the snap when everybody else started coming back in. So the way they tie all that in and just kind of little nuances here and there, I thought it was very well done. And at the end of the day, we really got to see how powerful Scarlet Witch is. Not saying that we never really saw it before. Like, she is a powerful Avenger, you know, superhero or whatnot, but truly powerful. And she hasn't really tapped into that, which we'll get into a little bit, because she's now figuring out a lot more because of Agatha Harkness. So before we get into kind of like favorite character, favorite scenes, we do want to give a shout out to one of our other sponsors, good old eBay out there. So we want to give a brief moment to talk about our newest sponsor, eBay. Whether rare, dead stock, or the latest release, find the exact shoe you're looking for. As the original sneaker marketplace, eBay is the place to go to cop the pair you've been eyeing. With eBay's authenticity guarantee, your sneakers are meticulously inspected by independent professional authenticators. Woo! A team of experienced sneaker authenticators verify the box, logo, stitching, and dozens of other inspection points. Each sneaker also receives an authenticity guarantee tag that includes a digital stamp of authenticity, and it also protects sellers with a verified return process. And for sneaker sellers out there, eBay has eliminated selling fees on sneakers $100 and up, making it free to sell or flip your collection. So go to ebay.com/sneakers today. eBay, the world's best destination for discovering great value and unique selection. There's a lot of authenticities.
I don't know why you were trying to pawn that one off on me.
I remember the first time I had to do that one, it took me about 3 tries. to finally get it right.
Risky doing it on this episode.
Yeah, risky business doing it live. You know, we're taking some risks here. We're coming up on year 3, season 4, having some more fun. This episode, again, is you'll be able to find it on YouTube. And for those of you listening out there, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's very simple, Zero Dark Nerdy. So we'll go back to Saba here. Saba, what are some of your, whether favorite characters, favorite moments of the show? Like, what are some areas that kind of stood out to you when it came to WandaVision?
Yeah, look, I'll tell you this right now. I loved every character, so I don't, and that's a little bit of a cop out, maybe, but I really did. I mean, honestly, I did. I think what I'll talk about is maybe my favorite episodes. I think, and then sort of the moments. Episode 8, you talked about it, the whole trip down memory lane when Wanda meets the Mind Stone, when you see when they were in Stryker's facility and how she sort of, the vision of her becoming the Scarlet Witch with the sunburst behind it, the childhood tying, the Stark bomb that landed in their living room to the toaster from the first commercial to Age of Ultron, right? When I think Pietro says that, the bomb that landed in their house had Stark's name on it or whatever. So, episode 8 was outstanding. I love the whole origin story thing. I love kind of getting a sense of this is where we were at, and got us to this point to show, how everything was created. You talked about this one too, episode 4. It's the first time we saw people actually returning from the snap, right? We saw the particles coming back and you kind of sitting, and then I thought it was just very realistic, right? When she she comes back and she kind of getting her bearings, and then she walks out of the hallway in the hospital, and motherfucker, it's chaos, right? Because that's how it would be. I need my phone. I got to call. Like, it was so very realistic. And obviously, look, and in Avengers Endgame, when, you hear Cap on your left and they start coming through the portals, like nothing gives you chills like that. This was the, like the realistic version of them coming back and seeing how, Joe Schmuckatelli from 4th Street, how he came back from the snap, right? Not fucking, Black Panther. Episode 7, Monica's transformation into Photon, seeing that whole process take place. I mean, obviously, we'll save sort of where we think this is going to go, but that's clearly going to be an important piece of the next several phases of this Marvel cinematic universe. And then I think probably my favorite part, and this is I'm taking some liberties with this right here. I can't remember what episode it was, maybe 4, maybe 5, when she came through the Hex for the first time and she confronted all the FBI and the sword agents out in the middle of that field. They all put their green lights from the from their guns on her, and very sort of Magneto-esque.
Yeah.
She kind of, and that actually, I think Magneto did that in one of the X-Men movie. And for people that don't know, in the comic books, Magneto is Wanda's father. So, and who knows if they're going to tie that in, but she kind of takes the guns, and it kind of just kind of talking about it, it kind of gives me chills a little bit, because, I got Funkos everywhere. Magneto's sitting right next to me. I mean, I am a huge Magneto character. Fassbender, and then obviously Sir Ian McKellen. So, great actors have played him. So just very, very, that scene just gives me chills talking back about it right now.
Nice.
Speaking of, I kind of thought that it was interesting that they recasted her brother as Quicksilver from X-Men 4 and X-Men Apocalypse and Deadpool 2. Like, Evan Peters was Quicksilver, her brother. Peter Maximoff.
Maximoff. Yep.
When it happened, though, I was a lot more like, oh my god. But making him what Ralph Boner or whatever,
Ralph Boner.
Right? And look, maybe they're going to continue to utilize him. I don't know, but that piece felt kind of flat for me because obviously they're calling him Pietro, right? Like fake Pietro,
right?
So yeah. That's his name and like on the message boards and all that. So, but it was great when he fucking showed up. I was like, holy shit, I hear you.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. Honestly, like the director, Tyler Hayworth, I really was annoyed with him towards middle and I think that was the expectation, but I mean, she coming through to see Vision for herself and get her closure, and then he kind of like brought that friction, which is very risky for her to do again to her especially. Yeah. But I mean, just he was thinking from like a monetary standpoint, like this would be a huge loss for him, and she was thinking he's mine. He's my closest. I was his closest to kin. Like, yeah, you may not see it that way, but she was destroyed by the loss of Vision and seeing him that way. And you can't even imagine, what the internal battle was, that whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's safe to say, not to cut you off. I mean, between her and Thor, those two have lost the most, I believe, in the MCU in terms of like their loves and in terms of relatives.
Tony Stark lost his life.
Well, yeah.
Spoiler alert.
I actually had to rewatch those because I was just like, when WandaVision came on, I was like, I started it up and I was like, all right, I think I need a little refresher. Right. So I started watching the Avenger movies again just to kind of put it into perspective. So when I did, I was just like, oh my God, it made it that much worse. The whole her and Vision thing. I was like, I probably would have done the same thing because that just is very heartbreaking. Honestly, I think we were supposed to hate Agatha, but I myself love Catherine.
I do too.
And I just couldn't bring myself to be like, you're a terrible character. Same. Even as a villain, she's a badass. Same. She's a badass bitch. And just watching her do her, I was just like, I knew it. I just knew it.
Yeah, because I was surprised to have them bring in, because to me, even though, yes, I do think she's underrated, but to me, she's also a big name to bring into a show like this, to just have her be the nosy neighbor.
Yeah.
So to have that all play out was a huge payoff.
And I think as well, like her tinkering and stuff, and Wanda being none the wiser.
Right.
And then the whole reveal, and it was just kind of like, oh my goodness, like just making that connection was a little difficult for me. I didn't grow up with the comic books. I love the movies, but yeah, I know. Shake your head, right?
No, I had to. Trust me, I had to.
I didn't either. Yeah, so we're on the same page.
Yeah.
But yeah, her just and the whole, like, you really appreciate Wanda even more after the whole thing too, because spoiler alert, when she is in the basement with her and they're walking through her past and she's trying to figure out, what are you really, Agatha being, whatever you are, I need to be.
Yeah.
I know I'm the baddest and I'm going to continue to be the baddest because I'm going to take it from you. And then her using it against her was just like, I loved it.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you exactly where you started. You're going to be the nosy neighbor.
Yep.
And I'm going to be the Scarlet Witch.
So true. So true. All fantastic points. For myself, the introduction for Jimmy, is it Jimmy Woo?
Jimmy Woo.
Jimmy Woo, Randall, FBI agent Randall Park from the Ant-Man movies, most particularly Ant-Man and the Wasp. His introduction with the business card.
The card.
It was a wrap for me. I lost it. It's nice, just small little callback to where, you really had to pay attention to it. And of course it was all over the message boards and everything else, just because I remember that scene where he was asking Paul Rudd, how'd you do that? And then obviously after all these years, or, however many amount of time, he's mastered it.
Yeah.
And he's just a great character. And another one, I think that's underrated, but his time is getting ready to shine too, as a lot of people call him Asian Jim, because he did play Asian Jim Halpert on the Office for a small little cameo. And there's a little sidebar, a funny story too. For the longest time, he had people like honk their horns and reach out to him in public, like Asian Jim, and he like didn't really make the connection because to him it's one day's work, really about, let's just say, maybe an hour of work, if that, and then he's on to the next project. Where to the rest of us, especially Office fans, we're like, you're Asian Jim. So he would like sit there and be like, God, like, why are people so racist? Like, I'm not fucking Asian Jim. And then it finally took him a while to put it together, like, oh, Asian Jim from The Office.
So I watched Always Be My Maybe.
I love that.
And
so
right,
good.
well, you talked about it on the rom-com episode, and that's him. And it was I loved that movie. I told you I was going to watch it, and I did, and it was great. And that was just a good segue to that.
Yes.
That was,
He was really funny in it.
That's right. For those of you listening, the three of us did favorite rom-coms, so be sure to check that episode out, and that is one of them on there. I do think it's still on Netflix.
It should be. It's a
Netflix. Yeah, it's a Netflix.
Where's it gonna go?
Exactly. You never know now.
I don't know. Probably Disney Plus.
I'm a huge Kat Dennings fan. On top of that, so her coming back, playing her character from the first. Was Thor. She also in the second Thor too? Yeah. She was in both, right?
Was she?
Yeah, as Darcy, I thought was just fantastic. And again, Monica Rambeau was great. I can't say enough about Catherine Hahn. And probably two favorite episodes. Episode 3 is when they shift from black and white to color. I thoroughly enjoyed. The intros were great. Yeah, I know you mentioned Malcolm in the Middle. Mm-hmm. I really loved I think it was the episode after. It was the Office style episode.
Modern Family. It was Modern Family.
Modern Family / Office, where they're talking to the camera, and then that's when we get the big reveal that Catherine Hahn's character, Agatha Harkness, is the villain in that. And besides that, yeah, those are kind of my big moments there. And before we get to our next sponsor spot, I do want to say one of my favorite moments in the show is this little ditty right here, the intro for Agatha Harkness right here. I tell you, there are so many TikToks to this song. It makes me enjoy the fact that I actually have a TikTok.
I should have named my child Agatha.
So before we get into just final thoughts, as well as where we think we go from here, I know there's been a lot of, obviously, some theories, conspiracy theories throughout the entire show. And then, obviously, the show just wrapped up. Real quick word from our final sponsor today. Watch the new movie. Gonna start that over. Watch the new SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run. Join SpongeBob SquarePants, his best friend Patrick, and the Bikini Bottom Gang in their most epic adventure movie yet. On a heroic and hilarious mission to save SpongeBob's pet snail, the pals realize nothing is stronger than the power of friendship. Friendship! Don't forget to stay tuned after the credits for an all-new SpongeBob mini-movie. Stream the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, instantly on Redbox On Demand today. Also streaming on Paramount Plus, rated PG from Paramount Pictures. I can't believe that I knocked out the eBay episode. And this is the one that I messed up.
Like, is that the Leaving Las Vegas version, Sponge on the Run?
Yes.
This is the Nick Nolte rated R version of it.
Nothing sucks up rum like a sponge.
All right, so Saba, final thoughts, as well as where do we go from here? Because you and I have talked about this on many occasions. I think it's so exciting, the new realm, obviously phase that Marvel's going into, because there's so much uncertainty on who the big bads are. When do the Fox characters come in? This, that, and the other. I mean, it's unprecedented, because for the longest time we knew Thanos was coming from the first Avengers movie. And then a lot of movies tied into that, obviously Guardians of the Galaxy, Age of Ultron, end credits, things like that, where now we really have no idea where this is going. So we'll start with you and then go to Nicole and keep it moving.
Yeah, I think the one final thought, just to sort of wrap up, it's very rarely, and obviously in an MCU type situation, it's really one of the few areas where this is actually possible. This show made Avengers Age of Ultron a better movie, right? And
100% agree.
Right. And I think that's that's one of the, man, like the real gifts that I think, the way that Thor Ragnarok sort of saved the first two Thor movies, right? I think that that's one of the great gifts about the MCU is that, even if they miss, and they haven't missed in a while, right?
Right.
They haven't missed in a while, but even if they miss, there's always opportunities for them to sort of fix it down the road and go back and tie it in. Where do I think it goes from here? I mean, obviously there's two critical movies that this is going to tie directly to, right? It's going to tie directly to Doctor Strange 2, and it's going to tie directly to Captain Marvel 2, right? Because and maybe even what's the Fury show that's coming? There's the Fury show that's coming in a couple years that sort of chronicles him being in space with Sword, right?
Oh,
and
right.
the invasion. I don't know. I can't. There's so much shit coming right now. I can't think
so
of it
much.
all.
That Investors Day
But-
was a joke.
Yeah, but it's going to tie directly to these next two movies. I liked the end credits scene where, she talked about they took her in the movie theater and
and then the scroll came out.
the scroll showed themselves and said, your friend from up there. So, obviously that's Fury. It's going to tie to that. The whole Sword tie, Captain Marvel 2. It's going to be interesting to see. Multiverse of Madness is already going to be pretty crazy. I think clearly there's two ways this thing can go, right? Where Doctor Strange is helping Wanda sort of learn and harness her power, or it's going to be a battle between the two of them where, there's a character, and I can't pronounce its name, Cthon. It comes from that book that Wanda was reading at the end, which is the book that's missing from that library in Doctor Strange 1.
Yeah.
It's the Dark Side or whatever. That's the name of the book. So there is an evil spirit or whatever that comes out of that book, and in the comic books actually possesses Wanda. So two ways that we can go with Doctor Strange 2. Either Wanda and Strange are working together against some bad force, or potentially Wanda is the bad force, right? And Strange is having to work to save her and help her through, because you heard Agatha say to her, you're more powerful than even the Sorcerer Supreme. And there's a lot of beings throughout the Marvel comic book history that were Sorcerer Supreme, but right now it's Stephen Strange. So it's interesting the way that they tied it to that. So, I mean, look, man, I'm ready for Falcon Winter Soldier. Like I'm ready for Black Widow. I'm ready for the Eternals. Like, I think that's the one great thing that we have now. The last time they did this, when they started at the beginning with Iron Man and with the Incredible Hulk, is they didn't know they were creating a Marvel Cinematic Universe. They found out 3 years into it. And obviously they didn't have the TV shows and, these limited series. I don't think any of these series are going to go multiple seasons.
Right.
Maybe, but probably not. So they're just little mini movies. That's all they are. And, or I guess big movies, right? Extended, but
8-hour movie.
I'm excited. I don't want spoilers, man. Like, and I want them to take their time. And, people want all these big reveals every single week. Like, give me Doctor Strange, give me Mephisto, give me, Pietro, give me, like, no, man, like, just take your time. The next 10 years is going to be, the last 10 years was a masterpiece. I think they're even going to outdo themselves with this one. So.
Damn. Good call. Good call on that. Nicole, where do you think we're going next with all this?
I agree, because it seems like they've been pretty good about tying everything in. So I think this is just going to be a stepping stone for the next show, and she's going to reappear, as Scarlet Witch, and pretty typical of Marvel to put in an Easter egg. So of course, naturally I flip through the credits and watch it. And, I kind of want to see like where Monica Rambeau goes from here, and even her two sons, because at the very end you hear them call to her, and she immediately knows that it's them, so that kind of leaves the question, like, what does that even mean? I mean, they were released, right? They were released, and she's kind of out in the wilderness on her own. And so, yeah, kind of curious to see where that goes, and see the character development between, Monica Rambeau and the children and her. And, she did have a very Doctor Strange moment where she was walking outside of the door, and at the same time she's in another room flipping through that book. And I was just kind of like, whoa, like we didn't see that in any of the Avenger movies. Like she could have rocked the whole thing off, but no, she's developing very slowly and going to become, who knows what the potential is there. So I'm curious to see it, and it makes me want to watch the other shows coming out. So I'll be excited to see them.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Be here. One more thing.
Yeah, of course.
I thought that, and this just kind of popped in my head as you were talking about that end credits scene, the end credits scene that Nicole was just referencing, where that was very Thanos-esque, right? Think about when Thanos went to the garden. He was by himself in seclusion, just sort of resting on his laurels. Now, obviously, she's working to become, very powerful and understand her power and all that. But I thought that scene, sort of being in seclusion in this far off place all alone, was very Thanos-esque.
You're right.
Yeah. I think that's an excellent callback, because, I mean, on top of that, too, it's for two different reasons. Thanos believed this is what he needed to do, where with her, this is now let's just say third and fourth time. This is now this really the third time that she's lost Vision, because, she killed him, and then Thanos brings him back, takes the stone, and now he's gone again. So that's the third. And then she loses the twins on top of that. And then again, the callback to, you hear the twins calling out as her second self or whatever it is going through the book, mom. So of course, to your point too, I think Multitude of Madness, and why she's going to be one of the main characters in it with Doctor Strange, is she's going to try to figure out how to get the twins back. And my big question mark too is with the I don't know what you want to call them, Silver Vision or the White Vision. Do you think, and this is a question for both of you, that vision that Wanda created when she created, the new Westview, that any part of him went into the Vision, Silver Vision, let's just say, well, for lack of a better term?
I think that's.
I don't think so.
Right.
I think his purpose was just to help him, was to help him unlock the memories that they were suppressing, possibly. I don't know.
I don't know where he came from. Where did he come from? Because he kind of just appeared, and I don't know if Agatha had something to do with that, or
the White Vision.
Yes.
White Vision. There we go. The White Vision.
No, that's the director of Sword put him back together. That there was an end credit scene. So you probably missed the end credit scene at the end of episode 8, maybe, or 7, where they sort of unleash him. Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, because remember, they made it out like Wanda came in, stole the original parts of Vision, and brought him back there, but that wasn't the case. So he was still there. Wanda, all she did was break the glass because she was upset, and then she dipped, but they kept Vision there. So the director did a lot of fucked up shit.
Wow.
So hopefully he's getting his in prison or whatever kind of
he escaped somewhere.
thing they're doing. But again, just like Saba said, I'm really excited for the Lethal Weapon-esque, the show that's supposed to be Winter Soldier and Falcon. And I think it's going to be a good, I don't want to say break, because I think WandaVision is so great on its very own. And again, I thought that they did take a little bit of a risk with this, because it's not your contemporary Marvel movie. A lot of them have a lot of the same themes, kind of same issues going on. This was very different, tying in old school television, and then of course the reveal that it is her suppressed kind of memories and thoughts. And then now we kind of get to take a break to where we're not trying to do so much figuring out and looking for, I mean, we're always going to look for Easter eggs or Marvel movies or Marvel shows too. But now we can actually enjoy what looks like it's going to be a good buddy cop kind of show. And I think, Saba, you said that this is going to be the highest rate as far as ranking for Disney Plus, right? A PG-13 or?
Yeah, it's like a PG-13 plus. It's going to be the most violent. They're saying it's going to be the most violent Marvel property yet.
Yeah. So definitely excited about that. In terms of disappointments, I know you mentioned Mephisto. You know, a lot of people are looking forward to that. I actually would have been surprised if they would have revealed the next big bad, no matter who it is, or even if it's like, let's just say like the junior boss before the big boss during this show. I thought Agatha Harkness was a great villain that we really didn't see coming. And I'm sure we're definitely going to see her again. So I literally would have been shocked if they did like Mephisto or anybody else on a big scale on this show.
You're going to get plenty of villains over the next 10 years. Plenty of big name villains that, you know, are going to transform. You know, you're going to get Namor, you're going to get Kang the Conqueror, you're going to get probably Doom or Galactus. Like, you're going to get plenty of villains.
Exactly. And I think Galactus, I don't even know if he'll be on this phase, but that's another conversation. To me, I did think, and I'm really glad that you mentioned the background of her Hydra roots. I do agree with you on both parts. I did go back and watch Age of Ultron again, and I had way much more appreciation for it this time around than I did probably like the last 5 times I saw it. And with that being said, the only confusing thing to me is like the first couple episodes had those commercials in it where you could see like the Hydra logo, but that was, and you pointed out to it again very well, her background with Hydra and how she got her powers. So, because I was kind of waiting for, Hydra's still around. Hydra's around this somewhere, and they really weren't. So it was just her going back to her background and how she got
Hydra's always around. You cut off one head, 2 more grow, baby.
Well, it was kind of like a subconscious thing. Anything, it was all in her subconscious, you know, all that she created, and
exactly,
including the commercials and.
Yep. Yeah, and it definitely made a lot more sense. Coming up next, we do have obviously Winter Soldier. What is it? Not Captain America. Jesus, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Falcon was Winter Soldier, and then Black Widow, the movie coming out. Then I think Loki is coming out after that, if I'm not
Loki's mistaken. In May. Yes. Loki's June.
Okay.
Then you get Eternals.
Yep.
Then you get Shang-Chi. So you're going to get 2 movies, and then you'll get Hawkeye in the back half of the year. There's no date on that yet.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's an exciting year, and honestly, we all deserve it after the shit show that was 2020. And Saba and I have the same recurring nightmare to where, God forbid, if Endgame were supposed to be scheduled for last year and we had to wait a whole year for Endgame.
I'd have fucking killed somebody. I wouldn't have made it.
Broken into Marvel Studios. Everybody was talking about raiding Area 51. No, we're going to raid Marvel, and we want to see the movie.
We're going to create Area 51.
But that's all I got on my end. Any last thoughts? Any last comments? Excellent. Well, for those of you that have been joining us on YouTube and that are going to watch it here eventually, thank you so much for joining us. For those of you listening, be sure to check out my man Saba, Plug the Water Cooler.
At WC Sports Pod every Tuesday, most Tuesdays. Every once in a while we go Thursday at noon, but myself, Luke Crocker, checking out, doing all kinds of sports stuff. Yesterday or today, we just released an episode that was a little bit different from what we normally do, a little bit of rapid fire. We hit on like 11 sports topics in about, 40 minutes. So it was pretty interesting. So check us out every Tuesday at WC Sports Pod. We are also available on the Believe Podcast Network, which is the same network that you can find Zero Dark Nerdy. So BLEAV.
There you go. That's right. Check us out. Be sure to check out our website, popculturepodcast.com. Couldn't make it any easier for you. Home to our podcast episodes, as well as our events, blogs, movie trailers, news, contests, all kinds of stuff. Be sure to sign up for our newsletter. It comes out once a month. It will be your favorite thing that comes into your Gmail, Ymail, any kind of mail, Hotmail, AOL mail. Some people still have AOL out there. And of course, on social media, you can find us just about anywhere at Zero Dark Nerdy or some variation of it. On IG, it's ZDN_podcast. On Twitter, it's at ZDN Podcast. Facebook, Zero Dark Nerdy. And of course, on YouTube, Zero Dark Nerdy. On behalf of Nicole, Saba, and myself, thank you all so much for joining us, as well as the rest of the Zero Dark Nerdy crew that unfortunately couldn't make it. Jadon's out there doing trivia. Matt's getting better. Jordan's working. Big Tim doing his thing with the baby. Dennis out there. Courtney. And again, big thank you to all of our fans here in the States, as well as all of our fans across the world. We will not be getting ready to hit up our 4th season, let alone year 3, without you. So more, again, videos, spoilers, of course, excitement coming your way. And yeah, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, and we'll see you next time. Peace. All right. Let me end this.
That was good. All right. That was fun.
All right.
That was fun.
That was fun.
All right. I'm going to eat dinner. I can smell fucking tacos. Good to see you guys. Nicole, it's great to see you. I haven't seen you in a while.
All right, brother. I'll catch up with you tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and end this.
Aaron, I'll talk to you.